Aaron Rodgers did not make an announcement. He did not promise anything, but after one coaching hire in Pittsburgh, he picked up the phone. A quiet conversation followed, and suddenly an entire offseason began to shift. What was said in that call, and why does it matter so much right now? Nothing about February 3rd felt important at first. It was supposed to be routine, a standard media day filled with introductions, philosophy talk, and careful answers. The kind of day that rarely changes anything. But sometimes the biggest shifts in the NFL do not arrive loudly. They arrive quietly, through tone, through timing, and through what is not said. When the Pittsburgh Steelers introduced Mike McCarthy as their new head coach, the expectation was simple: talk about culture, talk about leadership, talk about direction. Instead, one name hovered over every answer, even when it was not mentioned directly: Aaron Rodgers. By the end of the day, one detail mattered more than all the prepared statements combined. Aaron Rodgers had spoken to the Pittsburgh Steelers after the hiring of Mike McCarthy. There was no announcement, no public declaration, no confirmation of plans, just a conversation. But in the NFL, conversations between people like this are never meaningless. They signal interest, they signal openness, and they signal possibility. Mike McCarthy did not dodge the question when asked. He acknowledged that he and Rodgers had spoken multiple times. He described it calmly, without drama, without promise. That alone shifted the tone. Because it confirmed that Rodgers was not distant, he was not disconnected, he was engaged enough to pick up the phone. The relationship between Rodgers and McCarthy is not a footnote. It is a decade of shared success and tension in Green Bay. A Super Bowl run, MVP seasons, playoff disappointments, growth on both sides. When McCarthy arrived in Pittsburgh, the league understood immediately what that meant. Not a guarantee, but a reopened door. The Steelers were careful in how they handled it. They did not frame McCarthy's hiring around Rodgers. They did not present it as a reunion. They spoke about structure, accountability, and experience. But they also did not shut anything down. Ownership acknowledged communication. Team officials acknowledged that the door was open. And behind the scenes, Rodgers reached out. That detail matters because Aaron Rodgers does not reach out casually. He does not engage unless he believes something is real. This is not about nostalgia or reliving the past. Both men are different now. Rodgers is no longer chasing validation. He understands timing and leverage. McCarthy is no longer the same coach he was a decade ago. His leadership style has evolved. His communication has changed. This is not about rewriting Green Bay. It is about alignment. Rodgers has not announced a decision. He has not committed to playing. He has not committed to retirement. But silence from Rodgers has never meant disinterest. He has always taken time to evaluate his body, time to reflect on motivation, time to assess whether the situation fits how he wants to play football. That is where he is now. League insiders describe him as thoughtful, not hesitant, open, not undecided. And one thing is consistent across those conversations. The hiring of Mike McCarthy made Pittsburgh more interesting. The Steelers believe they are closer than people think. The roster is competitive, the defense remains dangerous, the offensive pieces are in place. What they do not have is certainty at quarterback, and certainty is everything in this league. Rodgers offers something no other option does: immediate credibility, command of the offense, the ability to control games. This is why the Steelers are willing to wait. They understand the risks. Rodgers is older, injuries are a reality. Time does not slow down, but they also understand the alternative. Settling for uncertainty is worse than waiting for clarity. Behind closed doors, the organization believes Rodgers gives them the highest ceiling right now, not the longest window, the best chance to compete immediately. That belief shapes every other decision. That call did not happen in a vacuum. It landed in a moment when the Steelers were already re-examining how close they truly are. Not rebuilding close, not hopeful close, competitive close. The kind of close where one decision can tilt an entire season. They have seen enough of their roster to know it is not broken. They have also seen enough to know it needs direction at the most important position. That is why the organization has been so measured in its response. They are not treating this like a publicity cycle. They are treating it like a calculation. One that weighs stability against uncertainty, patience against urgency. The Steelers have always believed that the wrong move is worse than no move at all. Waiting does not scare them. Rodgers understands that mindset because he has lived the opposite. He has experienced organizations where noise becomes pressure and pressure becomes chaos. That is not Pittsburgh. This is a franchise that prefers clarity over speed, a place where decisions are allowed to mature instead of being forced into existence. The appeal for Rodgers is not about being the savior, it is about being the final piece, a quarterback who can step into a system that already knows who it is, one that does not need reinvention every Sunday, one that understands how to protect its players and its identity. For McCarthy, this moment represents balance. He is not chasing the past, he is building something new, but he also understands the value of trust at quarterback, the kind of trust that eliminates hesitation, the kind that allows an offense to function without constant adjustment. That trust is rare. When it exists, you do not ignore it. The Steelers' front office sees the same thing. They are not blind to the risks. They know what age means, they know what injury means. They also know what leadership means inside a locker room that expects to win. Rodgers brings instant credibility. That does not guarantee success, but it changes belief. Belief is not measurable, but teams feel it, players feel it. When a quarterback walks into the room with command, preparation sharpens, accountability increases, margins tighten. That effect alone can swing close games. This is why the league is paying attention. Not because of headlines, but because outcomes shift when quarterbacks like Rodgers enter stable environments. Defensive coordinators begin preparing differently. Schedules feel heavier, matchups feel less forgiving. Still, nothing has been decided, and that uncertainty is intentional. Rodgers will not be rushed into a choice that affects how his career ends. The Steelers will not force a commitment that creates resentment later. Both sides understand that timing matters as much as talent. That quiet approach fits both sides more than any public announcement ever could. Rodgers has never been motivated by spectacle at the end of his career. He has seen how loud endings rarely age well. What he values now is control, preparation, and trust in the people around him. Those things cannot be promised in a press conference. They are either present or they are not. The Steelers understand that reality. Their history is built on restraint. They do not sell futures. They do not chase attention. They believe that credibility is earned internally long before it is recognized publicly. That philosophy shapes how they handle moments like this. It is why they have allowed patience to guide the process instead of urgency. If this path comes together, it will not feel like a reunion or a headline-driven decision. It will feel like two timelines meeting at the right point. A veteran quarterback seeking clarity and a franchise seeking stability. Nothing more, nothing less. And if it does not, the meaning of this moment does not disappear. It still reveals how the Steelers view themselves and how Rodgers views the game at this stage. It shows that respect still drives decisions on both sides. That alone explains why this story continues to resonate. Not because of what might happen, but because of how carefully it is being handled while everyone waits.